It's Monday, it's 9 o'clock, it's RaceSpotTV. We're here at Belle, Detroit for round 7. 1 week delayed here on RaceSpotTV for the Monday Night Skippy series. Of course, Rachel White for bringing you the action tonight as we had a delay. Because iRacing had a delay. And it's a funny story. They were going to do some upgrades on Monday. They didn't. So everyone changed their schedules. They were going to do it on Wednesday. They didn't. Happened on Thursday. So everything's been a little shuffled around in the last 7 days. And you know what's not shuffling around? Monday Night Skippys, because we are here. Qualifying underway for round number 7 here. The round we missed will happen at the end of the season, so keep your eyes out for that. We'll be going technically 13 weeks, but 12 rounds. Because numbers. We're here at the street circuit here at Belle Isle, and qualifying is nearly in the books for these guys as we get this thing done tonight. And we've got the championship standings for you there. It's a lot to play for still. A lot of guys there with a lot of points. And Bill Fraser and, of course, Fima Antonidez are going to be locked at the top, working this thing out, trying to find out which of them will take the championship this season. But right now, no sign of him. That is, Antonidez is in your top group. We'll run through your qualifying positions as they stand at the moment. Well, we'll look at the top 3. We've got Claire Hughes, Simon Edwards, and Bill Fraser there. These guys are doing a good run at the moment, but this could all change. We've got a minute left here on qualifying, so we'll see how that one does play out for you. But we just aren't quite sure if this will still stand. It could vary, so we'll have to see what goes there. But of course, we've got 14 laps around this track tonight, and this is 14 turns around a 2.35 mile street circuit here at Detroit. And unlike another island on the Great Lakes, and I'm referencing Chicago, this time the mayor didn't bulldoze it. Yes, that's a reference to Magus Field. Anyway, less of my obscure references. We'll be looking at Claire Hughes in a moment, who's your current pole sitter. Claire Hughes up there with a 1:34.841. Looking pretty cozy at the moment by just under a whole tenth of a second. We'll look at our 1 second bracket though. We're looking for a 44.8. And weirdly enough, that comes pretty quickly. Unlike one of our races where we see a big difference. 14th place is our 1 second bracket. Nick Sigley there. As I don't believe we have an Antonidez today. Nope. Not here at all. Qualifying, though, is in the books. Let's go through your starting grid. Claire Hughes on pole tonight with Simon Edwards in 2nd place, Bill Fraser in 3rd, and Daniels in 4th place with Simon Povey in 5th, James McRitchie in 6th place behind him, Matt Cox, Jack Hobbs, Anthony Catt, and Chris Malcolm. Then we've got Peter Cowan, Gary Tall, Clark Williams, Nick Sigley, still in the 1 second bracket there. Just outside that 1 second, Christopher Keeble, Paul Thurston in 16th place, Anthony Jones, Patrick Fairbanks, Michael J. Taylor, and Paul Ridley is your top 20. Rest of those positions up on your screen as we get ready to go racing tonight here at Belle Isle. Normally a home to IndyCar racing in this beautiful park here just off the coast of Detroit. What could be better than street racing? Oh wait, they're Skippys. They're fragile. What could go wrong? Cars taking the grid now as we get ready for this thing to go racing tonight here. 14 laps around this circuit. Weather conditions are pretty reasonable. Look at 82 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, clear skies. Track temperature 89 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind is low, 2 miles an hour from the northwest. Humidity low, so lots of grip tonight. Track's a little warm, which does twist things around. The clear skies does make for possibly a slippery racetrack. But the humidity means we should have no problem with engines overheating, which could be a big factor for these guys. Definitely will make things a lot more interesting. I'm on my own tonight because Linus apparently didn't show up and didn't tell anybody, so that's a good one. So you'll have to listen to my tones for the entirety of this race without taking a break for Sweden. Claire Hughes up front, getting ready to start this thing off tonight as we get set for only the 2nd coolest race around Belle Isle. Yeah, you can tell I'm an IndyCar fan. Definitely. But regardless, engines start to rev up here as the lights go on the gantry. Green flag flies. We're racing at Belle Isle. Turn 1-2. Tough here at Belle Isle, of course. You've seen that in the IndyCar races. Quick right followed by a left can bottle cars up very quickly. Granted, they're normally going twice as fast, but it can still happen as everyone single files through this first section here. A couple of cars too wide back in your field. The racing should be clean. There's no runoff here, so these guys have to be very careful with how they do this. Coming up to the first of our big 90-degree corners here at the end of this first straight. All this circuit built onto roads here on this park on Belle Isle. And of course, zero runoff in pretty much any direction whatsoever. These guys are boxed in for this one. Heading out towards the waterfront now, across the bridge into what will be turn 8 here, down now onto our backstretch here, which curves along the waterfront here. That's Detroit, you can see in the distance. Sweeping down, it's still going to be, I believe, Clear Hughes up front. It's not, in fact. I think, if my eyes are not deceiving me, yeah, he's in second place. Simon Edwards has taken that first place already. And that was the end, of course, of that first straight there. Behind them, Bill Fraser trying to catch up here and get involved. Ben Daniels, contact behind them, though, I heard. Let's see what we can locate further back in your field. Keeble having problems. Christopher Keeble living up to the namesake there. As we look a little bit further back in this one to see what happened to him. And it was going into that right-hander there, turn number 9 after the straight. Just right into the back of somebody, goes off the track, and unfortunately that will be his race done for now until he can get himself towed back to pit road. Edwards still leads the way up in front as we are on to lap number 2 as they come around this final corner. Now with that first lap scored complete, it's quite a long lap here, 1 minute 40. So weird enough, you're in the region for Formula 1 cars, as somewhere like Suzuka in terms of lap time. Other 140-second laps for the Skippys. Well, you could look at places along the likes of Summit Point, which is a surprisingly long lap. And you've got places like Sonoma as well, which are roughly in the 1 minute 40, 50 mark. So it's actually a 1 minute 50, the first lap by for Simon Edwards in the race with the racing he had to do. Big racing battle. Oh, problems! Bill Fraser goes sideways. We're going to look back at what happened to him there. That was some big congestion on the track as behind him he gets a shunt from Simon Povey. That will be what caused it. Povey shunts Fraser and has to rejoin a little bit further back as well. Fraser loses 1 spot, but a lot of ground on the racetrack there as it's still Clear Hughes chasing Simon Edwards to try and regain his lead from qualifying. Edwards, though, just jumped early and has been maintaining this distance as hard as he can. A phenomenal run from him. We're looking at Bill Fraser right now, struggling to regain. He's at the head of a pack of traffic here. Very busy for him as Ben Daniels goes to make a move here. James McRitchie behind them. Behind that group, of course, you got Cox, Hobbs, Cowan, and Simon Povey, who was up alongside him, as Fraser now alongside there. Ben Daniels. Fraser nursing some damage possibly from that contact, but trying to hold his place. He's lost that one to Ben Daniels. We'll have to try and hold off McRitchie here if he has the opportunity. Although that would look to be Cat's car. McRitchie the one behind them, so they've had some running order changes so far. Trying to do what he can. Povey's car looks to be okay. Bill Fraser took a pretty big hit from the rear, so it's possible he has a little bit of suspension damage. Ben Daniels definitely carrying good speed here. Up at the front of the gap, about 0.3 of a second, as it's still very close onto lap number 3 here. Clear Hughes, Simon Edwards, neck and neck there. That will be a very interesting race further on. Bill Fraser comes to the outside of Ben Daniels here along the start-finish line. Fraser's going to have the inside, which will give an advantage into the left-hander here. Cuts the curb quite aggressively up alongside him. I was not live, which is something I've not done in quite some time. 3 wide there to the right-hander. That's very busy on the track there as Fraser's regained his spot from Daniels. 2 wide there with Cox and McRitchie. Very busy racing there. Those guys need to just be a little bit more careful. This track has no runoff, as we mentioned. There is so much room for things to go wrong here if they just push too hard. Daniels back now in 4th place behind Bill Fraser. The gap though, 3.5 seconds to your leaders, so there's a long way for these guys to go if they want to try and catch up to that lead group, and fighting amongst each other will not produce that result. Simon Povey, his car looking to be okay after the collision he had with Bill Fraser, although I believe front wing is intact. It's okay, that's fine. No physical visible damage on his machine after that big braking incident into turn number 3. About a lap ago now, as up front of this pack is Fraser still leading the way here after we recovered that one from Daniels. Everyone just single filing here. Passing looks to be very much at a premium unless you could do something on the straights, and it does seem to be turn 3 after that first sequence is one of the bigger passing opportunities guys seem to be going for. Everything else just a little too high speed to make it stick, or too narrow, more importantly. coming on to lap 4 for these guys here. These laps flying by in this series. The gap 4.7 seconds now to Fraser. So Fraser possibly holding these guys up. He's running a little slower, running 45s at the moment. Simon Edwards running 43, so Bill Fraser well off the pace. Daniels looks to his outside. Can he do something with this? Drops back in line for the corner. Not willing to take that risk of making something stick on the outside. Bill Fraser does look to be nursing some injury on that car, so that could be why this pack has dropped back so aggressively. Leaving, of course, this to be a battle for 3rd place as Claire Hughes, Simon Edwards duke it out at the front. What a phenomenal push from those two guys as they just give this one everything. Running very consistent fast lap times. Just behind that Fraser train, we're calling it. We've got a second one. Peter Cowan, Gary Toll, Chris Malcolm there, Anthony Jones, Nick Sigley, and Paul Thurston, along with the likes of Ridley and Fairbanks. So about 16, 17 of your top group are in sight of each other at this moment in time, because that's one train we're seeing essentially, all the way back to Patrick Fairbanks, all the way to 3rd place. That is how much the time is being compressed and how hard it is to pass here at Belle Isle. Bill Fraser with his damaged car is in 3rd. Yeah, you've got the top out of that group 14 cars in a pack because of the speed difference here and how hard it is to pass. So that is definitely changing the dynamic of this race and going to make for some very impatient drivers in the near future for this one. Fraser still seems to have good pace on the straights. That's the interesting part of this. Whatever damage he has, it's not affecting his top end speed, but it's affecting his cornering ability. So just a little slower, you'll watch them really catch up to him in the corners, especially right hand corners. Left seem to be okay, so it could be something with the right wheel that's a problem for him, but right hand corners definitely seems to see Bill Fraser really slow down and lose ground. Ben Daniels going for a move here. We're on board with McRitchie. He's just behind the screen watching people dice and look for opportunities. You saw them there. Look how much they close up to Fraser and the right-handers. And this inner loop part of the track will definitely not be helping that. Coming into the stadium section now. Left here. You see him pull that gap a little bit. The right-hander up ahead. The field very congested here. This is incredible. I've never seen this many cars in a pack together. And it just keeps on going. All the way back to Patrick Fairbanks there, running in 16th place. A whole 11 seconds back from your leader, so this whole group is very close together. They're within, that's 14 cars inside of basically 6 seconds. That is not a lot of space on a racetrack at all. 14 cars in 6 seconds. This is some NASCAR stuff right here. Bill Fraser still managing to make this work. I mean, if they can hold this for the rest of the race, which I'll be impressed with, that'll be a phenomenal run from him with a damaged car potentially managing to hold these guys off. And this is definitely a defensive race for him now. The gap ahead, 5.1 to Claire Hughes and Simon Edwards, and it's not going to be one he'll really have a chance to catch up to with the way things are looking. And I think anybody that gets past him now will not have an opportunity either to catch up if they actually have a chance. But another lap will go in the books. On to lap number 6 now, approaching that halfway point in a lap's time, as we'll then go on to lap number 7. Running order as it stands: Simon Edwards, Claire Hughes, as we have got some lead changing, or nearly had some lead changing going on. Claire Hughes still riding behind Simon Edwards, who made that very early lap 1 pass, of course, to take the front position. It's Edwards, Hughes, Fraser, Daniels, McRitchie in 5th place, with Cox, Cat, Povey, Cowan and Gary Tall in 10th place. That's your running order at the moment for the top 10, as things have really not changed a huge amount. We've got Sam Povey back from 5th to 8th place. Chris Malcolm's dropped from 10th back. Looking at Anthony Cat, though. Has the Cat got the cream? No. Povey just behind in there. Cat not quite finding that opportunity to make a move on Matt Cox there. Cox just in front of him in the right place to stop that move happening. Povey, though, looking hungry at the moment, looking for an opportunity, goes to the outside here on the coastal run. It's going to be an outside line for him here, but can he hold it around the outside and make it stick? It is very tight there. Gets it in, or have the inside possibly. He does. Oh, contact with Cat. Povey, contact there with Anthony Cat as they came around that left-hander. And they were back together again. Cat holding that place. Povey got to be fuming in that car there. That was not very clean racing. He's alongside Peter Cowan there, who seems to be trying to move on him as well, as I believe they might have just helped Cat into a wall. I'm not sure what happened there. No, Cox has lost his engine or lost something and hurt his car. He is rolling to a stop on the outside there. I don't think it's actually damaged. He is still moving, but oh, he's got some big problems there. That car is not going to be involved in this race too well. He is jumping and bumping and grinding his way towards the pit road, so that'll be a retirement for Matt Cox at the moment. Anthony Cat, though, did just acquire a fairly big gap to Cat and Povey. Tall behind them, Jones, Malcolm, Sigley, Thorne, Thurston in that rear group. Bill Fraser holds the group at the front, though, from Ben Daniels, James McRitchie, Anthony Cat a little bit further back. So now we've had a break up, really, this 14-car pack to now a 3-car pack, a 1-car, and a 5. Makes things a little bit more manageable for these guys and takes some pressure off Bill Fraser. Or does it? With less cars in that pack makes these guys more likely to try and race, and considering they haven't really got a chance perhaps to take that lead back. Although some fighting with Hughes and Edwards has reduced the gap now from 5.1 to 4.8, so these guys are pulling this thing back in again. Yeah, the fighting with the leaders definitely playing a big role in this one. You can see them there. Hughes really finding his way back to Simon Edwards' gearbox there, trying to find an opportunity to make a pass on your current leader, the man who's led every lap so far in this race of the 7. We're going to have it books across this line in a moment. Can Claire Hughes, could the Welshman change this story tonight? Can he be the one that takes home the flag? Well, there's only one man that will deny him that, and at the moment that is Simon Edwards. That blue machine out front that's just been so strong for this entire event. Across the line they'll come in just a second. And that'll be just us passing the halfway point in tonight's event. Simon Edwards, Claire Hughes up there dicing for this victory. And they've got 5 seconds back to Bill Fraser as the timing updated there. That's a lot of room to play with if you want to race on the track, boys. I think it's basically time to go for it, but Hughes taking a very sensible option here. He's staying back. Okay, I said he was staying back, and of course then he goes for the pass into turn 3 up the inside. Edwards holds the outside line, but it's another right-hand corner, so it could be... No, Hughes has lost it. He drops back in line, so an attempt by Hughes. I thought Hughes was being conservative and waiting, going to save his opportunities for the last couple of laps, but no, he's been trying out what works. I think this might be experimentation from Claire Hughes we're seeing here. Not valid actual pass attempts, because he gave that one up far too easily. I think Hughes was seeing what will work for me when it comes to the end of the race. What can I do to secure this win from this guy? How is he going to defend, and how is he going to play his cards? At the moment, behind them is Fraser still leading from Daniels and Rick Ritchie in that second pack. The battle for 3rd place. Side by side with the leaders here. Another opportunity for Claire to test. Edwards maintains that lead position, though. It does look as though Edwards feeling a little bit more contested, shall we say. He's a little bit more boxed in by these guys as they're pushing to try and make this thing happen. Paul Thurston a little bit further back. He had been in a fight there with Fairbanks, but Fairbanks are really a little bit further behind him. Paul Thurston is no man's ground behind Nick Sigley. I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk to him later about the World Cup. Chris Malcolm is in the middle of this pack with Jones, Tall, and Cowan. The back end of your top 10 here. And that battle to be inside the top 10. Povey is separated from Cat as well, and McRitchie up the line close to Daniels and Fraser. That 3 hasn't broken apart for the entire race so far. But with the fighting, look at this. The amount of time has been eaten away by the leaders battling here. Just a couple of passes, a couple of side-by-side moments. That gap of 5 seconds a lap ago is 3.6. So a couple of good battles, and these guys will demolish their lead and will have cars on top of them, fighting for this victory in no time. Looking at McRitchie there, tried to make a pass on Ben Daniels. A little too soon, didn't quite have the momentum to make it work, so he'll have to hold this. And of course, this is music to the ears of Bill Fraser. Fraser does not want to see cars playing nicely behind him, catching up to him, passing him. If they're battling each other, they're not battling him. And that's exactly what a Scottish driver wants to see. Looking back at your leaders, Claire Hughes, is he going to have another go in the braking zone as Simon Edwards? Is he going to want to risk that gap of time they've got? Or is it time to stay in line and be as clean as possible? Try, build that gap, and then decide it amongst yourselves rather than involve other cars. He's not going to have the chance to just yet. He hasn't quite caught up here to Simon Edwards. Last lap by Claire Hughes, a 1:45.6. Edwards, a 45.4. So a little bit faster, but it's not going to be a big enough advantage for him. Behind them, Fraser. Still a good gap there to Daniels and McRitchie. Cat and Povey have been closed up together now. Povey catching up from the rear. Could be looking at making a move there for the 6th place if he can catch up to that number 5 car. Looking a lot faster at the moment. The gap had been so much bigger now, but he's pulled that one back from what was over a second as they're going to come across the line here. Less than a 1/10 of a second apart there between them. Wow. Close racing here. Povey right at the back here of Anthony Cat. Can he find a move into turn 3? Gets a better flow through the corners. Gets a good run here. Defensive line by Cat possibly. Povey goes to the outside. Can he go round the long way? Remember, it's a right-hander after this right-hander, but he clears him. Okay, so Cat just gives that place away. P6 to Simon Povey, which if he can carry this one up, will bring him up to the fight there with McRitchie, Daniels, and Fraser, who aren't that far away. They're about 2-3 seconds back, so that's achievable should they fight. We've seen how much time you can hemorrhage with even a small fight in this racetrack, as your leaders showed. A 1.5 seconds in a lap from just 2 or 3 corners side by side. Decent fight, you'll hemorrhage 3 or 4 seconds, so this is entirely possible that Povey can get himself involved in the battle for 2nd, or 3rd, 4th and 5th place. He just needs the right opportunity. Biggest gain in the top 10 so far, of course, is Anthony Jones. 17th to 9th. He is up, I believe at the moment, that is 8 places. Incredible run from Anthony Jones. Definitely a lot of movement. With some other big movers as well, like Simon Maltby, 27th to 16th, up 11. 28th to 17th, Dave Kirkman as well. 30th to 19th, Chris Bassett. So a lot of guys who are inheriting spots. So quite a few guys going down laps here. We've got a few retirements so far, but mostly it is just cars laps down from incidents. Hughes closing back in here on Edwards. Has he got a chance to make something work with this? Gets very close into 1. Slightly wider line will give him an advantage into turn 2 now. Coming around the corner, can he get a good line here to the run for 3? Is it time to go? We're on lap 11 of 14. Hughes looks to try and find an opportunity. Dives to the inside here. Has the overlap. Will have the inside of the corner. Can he clear Simon Edwards? This is it. Is this going to be a test pass or a full-on pass? As Edwards runs a little bit wide there. That almost gives Hughes the advantage. He does have a great advantage turning into turn 4. And he secures the place. Clear Hughes, your new race leader. Will he hold it to the stripe? We'll have to find out. But Clear Hughes now leading the way ahead of Simon Edwards. And the gap was 3.1 to Fraser last time. So Fraser now within shooting distance. The gap is under 3 seconds now. It might even be just over 2. 1.8 seconds now, the gap there. Fraser could well be involved in this one as Edwards now pulls alongside. This is the sort of battling you don't want to do, guys. If you've got a racer like Bill Fraser right behind you, side-by-side battling is not going to be helpful for either of you, as Edwards tries desperately to resecure that place. Gonna have the inside line, will take the place back, but look at that. Right behind them, Bill Fraser is now on their tail. Flip off that safety switch, Fraser, and shoot a sidewinder. You are well within tone distance here. Looking fantastic now as that top 2 battle. The runaway has been caught now by the train behind it. Edwards, Clear Hughes have been caught by Bill Fraser, Ben Daniels, and James McRitchie. And we have a battle on our hands leading on to lap 12. Up front, things getting very tense here. The battle has been a little selfish. They've wasted what could have been an easy runaway where they could decide this in the last lap or so with a lot of room to do. Gap to Fraser, 1 second now. Bill Fraser, whatever was wrong with his car, not anymore. He's all over this thing, and he is pushing as hard as possible now to make himself part of this story. And the way he's catching up, I would be scared if I was Hughes and Edwards. This is a driver who's fired up right behind him. Fraser has gained 2.2 seconds in the last lap. That is incredible. I mean, granted that was mostly Edwards and Hughes giving it away with fighting, but still, if they even try and battle, Fraser will be on top of them right now, like a tramp on chips. Yes, that is my amazing metaphor for the night. You are welcome, viewers. Bill Fraser is a hobo jumping on a plate of chips. Just picture it. It really works. It's really floral. Regardless, Edwards and Hughes up front. No sign of fighting yet. Hughes hasn't quite caught up to Edwards again. Is Edwards trying to just drag whatever he can out of this? Last time by 46.2 from him, 46.062 from Edwards. Yeah, Fraser with a 43.9. That's where the time went. Those two were so much slower for once. Fraser now almost within touching distance here. He's under a second from Claire Hughes. And we're going to have 2 laps left as we get to the flag this time by. 2 laps left after this. What was a 5-second gap is now under a second. Our whole story for this race has changed dramatically. We're going to have a 3-way fight for your race lead. Ben Daniels has been left in the dust. He's still about a second back from Bill Fraser. He doesn't know what happened. He just sees the young Scotsman disappear off into the sunset. McRitchie, though, on pit road. What happened to him? We'll have a quick look now just to see if we can recover what it was. I think this was on lap number 12. Blown motor. Okay, no, we're not going to show it, but there was a blown motor there for McRitchie. Has ended his race. Wow, that changes things dramatically. Lap 13 here, heading towards turn 3. Fraser, 0.9 of a second back from Edwards. Claire Hughes, 0.3. Things are incredibly close in a moment, and Hughes, one battle here with Edwards brings Fraser into this discussion. And it will be a very verbose one if he can get up there, because this guy is not afraid to get involved in things. Fairbanks is out. Patrick Fairbanks with an incident. We'll try and show you that one, what happened on the track. Just ran wide, collected a wall here, and this is what we talk about with street racing. When you're on the street circuits, there is no forgiveness. You run wide, you have not got a curb, you've not got grass. You cannot just drift it through the grass and save it. As Claire Hughes now takes the lead in this event and will have the next corner in his favour. But look at what this has done for Bill Fraser. Look where he is now, right on top of your leaders. We are going to have a battle to the end of this one, as it's now a 3-way fight here. Edwards fighting so hard to do this, as it nearly goes 3 wide here out at the end of the lap. What an incredible race at the moment we're going to have for this final moment here. You are going to love this, boys and girls. Here he is. Bill Fraser goes for the move up the inside of Claire Hughes here. This is what he was looking for, an opportunity. They fought, and they're now involving him in their squabble. That is exactly what Bill Fraser wanted, a mistake that he could take advantage of. He's on the inside here. This should give him a clean shot through turn 1. Can he catch up to Edwards, though? That's going to be very telling. He clears Hughes. Now, turn 2. Big opportunity for turn 3. Hughes looks back at him. Can he make a move on Fraser? Will this just let Edwards dance off into the sunset? Come on, Hughes. I mean, second place or chance at first. This is going to be bold if he can go for it. Fraser has to go deep on the brakes. Holds the inside line there, just about there. As Daniel's now on top of them with this fighting around Belle Isle. Absolutely hemorrhages time for you. As it's sort of left-hander now, so advantage Hughes unless Fraser can stick the outside. Contact with wheels there, grinding and bumping those cars together. What racing. Fraser secures the spot there as Edwards gets up on them here, and look at this. Simon Edwards is romping off into the distance. This is exactly what he wanted. Claire Hughes fighting for second and third place here, when they could have really had Simon Edwards if they'd worked together to mob him. Up the inside he'll go. He wants that second place. He's had most of the race, and Fraser, contact with him. No problems. Oh, involving Ben Daniels too. Oh my God, what is happening here? Bill Fraser just manages to hold on. Claire Hughes is heavily damaged and out, I think. Ben Daniels is also involved now, and he took hits. But look at this, Povey out of nowhere. Simon Povey, second place in the event in the final corners. After contact between Fraser, Hughes and Daniels has changed this story. Here comes Simon Edwards out of the final corner now, and across the line he will come. Simon Edwards takes the win, and like John Cena, nobody saw him. Simon Povey comes through in second place after second, third and fourth. Do the stupid and have a a street course wreck by basically being under each other's feet. I gotta say, all 3 of them made mistakes there. They put themselves in a terrible spot, and it cost them, unfortunately. Daniels, Fraser, and of course Hughes just earned it themselves. You got a replay there on your screen. All 3 of them just came together at the wrong opportunity. Daniels, of course, a bit of a victim, actually. Wrong place at the right time, and kaboom. Wow. That was stupid, was all I can say. The last lap, and you're fighting that hard, you've got no runoff. That's going to happen. Well, Simon Povey came back, and I think he deserved that one in the end there. The sneaky, catchy monkey tricks there for the 51 of Povey secures him second place. Daniels secures third. You know what? We'll go to your finishing results right now. The win tonight goes to Simon Edwards. Simon Povey in second place. I'm mixing up my Simons. Ben Daniels in third with Anti-Cat in fourth. Bill Fraser holds on for fifth place. Peter Cowan in sixth with Gary Tall, Chris Malcolm, Anthony Jones, Paul Thurston with the top 10 there in 10th place. Paul Ridley, Nick Sigley, Simon Maltby, Jack Hobbs, Dave Kirkman in 15th with Chris Roberts, Matt Cox, Robert Plumley, Barry West in 19th, and Yuri Hugawag in 20th. I butchered that name and I apologise. Rest of the results on your screen. Well, looks like Detroit has produced another phenomenal race ending because God knows they're not producing cars anymore. What a race we had tonight. Stick with us. We're going for a quick commercial break. When we come back, it is the highlight of Monday Night Skippies. We're going to the interviews, which is honestly almost better than the race. We'll see you in a minute.
Look to the outside as Bronco goes off. De Jong into second place.
I'm going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
I tried this contact though.
And wide left of the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe. Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schumacher, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
God damn it, I'm going to have to fire Paul.
What have I done?
You've broken the broadcasts. There we go. We actually have sound back on our broadcast right now, so I'm going to quickly summarise what everyone has said that you haven't heard. Simon Edwards was very pleased to win. We had Gary Tall say he was not quite so happy to finish 7th, but you know what, it'll do. Paul Thurston mentioned something about a cup of tea. Barry West said he was happy with the top 20, would have preferred higher, but you know what, he mustn't grumble. And we're talking to Dave Kirkman now, who's been one of our biggest movers in the field. That's a bit of a good summary. Carry on, Dave.
Yep, to be honest, I haven't done iRacing for the last 2 weeks, so to come here and finish 15th is pretty good, really. I had a really good race, enjoyed starting well down, I think 30th or something like that. And then just keeping out of trouble. This track's all about basically keeping out of trouble and not getting in the way of incidents and just being consistent as possible, really. And then I got right up behind Simon Maltby, and unfortunately I screwed it up with 2 laps to go, where I got slowed down and then put myself back, and unfortunately Jack just got me just literally on the last lap. But it was really great actually, just to come in and do the last 2 laps really hammering, trying to get as close as possible to Jack, and because he's much faster than I am, and just learning the track throughout the race was really good fun.
Well, there you go. Fantastic one for you today. 15th place from 28. Thanks for joining us, Dave.
Okay.
Before we head off tonight, we'll give a quick chat back with Paul Thurston. Paul, as World Cup captain for your club UK&I, tell us stuff about World Cups. What do you have to do if you are a UK&I club member to get involved?
Well, the qualifying was last Saturday. The qualifying races, we had a good turnout. We got some good people turn up, and we got a great result. To be honest, I mean we qualified. We're seeded 2nd for the road and 3rd for the oval, which will do us nicely. This Saturday, the teams will primarily be picked from the people who qualified last Saturday, but if we are short, we could do with other people. So have a look on the forum. You'll see 2 threads, one for road, one for oval. And you know, make yourselves known to the if you couldn't, and there's a lot of people, there were legitimate reasons they couldn't make the qualifying races, so it doesn't mean you won't be able to race. Make yourself known to Andrew and Jonathan, the two team captains, who did a stunning job, by the way, and basically just say you'd like to race. And on Saturday you can come along and support as well. I believe they're being streamed. I don't know, actually, genuinely don't know who by. But 11 in the morning, the oval team are playing either Japan or Europe, I believe, or it might be Japan or one of the Stars and Stripes, something like one of the American teams. They've got the round before us, and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's the road race against the Italians. That's a juicy one. Could be interesting.
That will be interesting. Very interesting. So check us out.
The next week it'll be the semis and the final, but we've got to get there first. Look, it's brilliant fun. Come along and watch, if nothing else. Come along and help. We need people to spot for the drivers. Anybody can help, even if you're not racing. You really can help. Just get involved. It's a brilliant thing to be involved with. It's the best thing in the year to be involved with.
Well, there you go. You've heard from Paul Thurston, El Capitan himself. If you're in Club UK&I, there's plenty of ways to get involved or support the teams, which is exactly what you need to do if you're not going to be racing yourselves. On that note, folks, we will see you again same time next week. We've had a fantastic run here tonight at Belle Isle for round number 7 of Monday Night Skippys. I've been Rachel Wyford. On the controls has been Mr. Paul Smith. Thanks for joining us, and good night.